What a pleasure it is to have Michael Uthoff with me today. Everyone knows his name through Dance St. Louis, and for many years he has also been the artistic director of an annual event called Spring to Dance. Good afternoon there, Michael.
Good afternoon, Kathy. A
Great to
pleasure
have
seeing you, and thank you very much for having me.
It is my joy, and I'm sure all our listeners will be very pleased to hear you and know that you're there and still springing to dance every year. This is your 16th annual one.
Yes, it is.
That is fabulous. How did this whole thing come about, Spring to Dance?
When I came to St. Louis in 2006, I looked at this landscape that we had, and I thought that there was something really missing, that we were not allowing ourselves to maybe discover unusual things that we were not able to bring forward as part of our regular season, but that audiences needed to know. And also, I felt that at that time, there was an issue of exposure and quality amongst local dance companies. And we felt that this would be an important way of getting them involved in performances, which would be seen by a much greater number of people that would see them otherwise. And at the same time, be surrounded by a group of other artists from metropolitan areas that were doing more interesting work. And they would look, they would watch and say, wait, this is interesting. I should do that. And I think over the 16 years, that's proven our point. We've had our audiences excited to come because of its novelty, because of the unusualness, because of the fact that they don't really know what they're going to get. It's not like, oh my God, I'm going to get these people from New York City Ballet. Yeah, we bring two people from New York City Ballet, and that's great. But I don't think that that's the reason they come. They come because they're going to discover something that they never had before. And at the same time, through the years, it happened that the local dance company did improve to the point where now they can maybe be even more experimental or more out there doing something different.
And you do make a big difference. And I love the way you said that. Discover something that they never had before.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, you draw upon some of the lesser known local dance companies, but then you also bring in internationally known solo dancers or troupes, companies, and it really is quite a variety.
Well, I always liked the potpourri thing. I grew up in the Joffrey Ballet, and we had a repertory that go from left to right. We did A to Z in one program, and I always enjoyed that. And, and audiences, they want to come in and they think, oh, I have to understand what's happening. Well, not really. You don't have to understand anything. If you want to, you maybe understand it. Sometimes understanding makes you enjoy it less. Like in my case, I know where it's going from the first movement. I just, like I said, look, what I'm showing you, it's not to your liking. Take a deep breath because 10 minutes from now, something else will come. So in a way, it's for you to discover aspects of an art form that you wouldn't otherwise do so with very little risk.
Such an interesting point. I should also mention to the audience this is going to be on Friday and Saturday, May 24th and 25th at the Two Hill Performing Arts Center, which it has been, I think, since its inception.
Yes.
So the first performance starts in the terrace lobby at 6:45. Then a little while later, the Anheuser-Busch Hall at 7:30. So it's not 2-day bring a sandwich kind of a performance.
Matter of fact, certain realities starting from COVID, from certain financial changes in the corporate giving, had led us to have the Spring to Dance be slightly different. So right now it's a little bit more compact. It used to be that we had 2 theaters and we had 10 companies every night for 3 nights. So that was 30 companies. I mean, in the 16 years that you mentioned, I think that, of course, we've had repeat companies, but I think we've had over 300 companies show up and be part of this event. 300 different companies and groups from all over the country and some from abroad, in Mexico and in Spain and what have you, so in Canada. So it's been a really incredible work of love and dedication, and it's captured the audience imagination, so that's very nice.
That is probably key. Over 300 companies, that is remarkable. You had a review one time from the Chicago Tribune that described this series as arguably the best dance buffet in the Midwest. That's a great quote.
I would even expand it beyond anywhere from East to West Coast, North and South. It is a remarkable venture that Dan St. Louis initiated. And I think that there are not carbon copies, but There's been a kind of flurry of little festivals going all over the country trying to almost do the same thing, but I don't think they capture the imagination as much as we had.
Let me ask you this. Every year you're putting together a new menu, if you will, for your buffet. How many companies apply each year to be part of this festival?
Prior to COVID, we had about 150 to 200 companies or groups sending applications. Since COVID, there was a large, I would say, slaughter. A lot of companies faded and they couldn't hold on and whatever. Right now, it's picking up a little bit, but at the same time, because we shrunk some, we only, instead of doing 30 companies, we're only doing 12 companies. Last year, we had about 100 send applications. Going with 12, you have to dress it differently. So I will invite 2 or 3 that become sort of anchors in each thing. And then I dress the program around them with people that send their applications. And the applications are viewed by myself and 2 other people whose judgment I trust.
Mhm.
And we decide, and we try and get a variety. I mean, we don't try to do everything contemporary, everything ballet, everything folk, everything, hip hop. Whatever we can find that showcases essentially more than anything the American spirit of dance.
I think it's wonderful that you incorporate everything from modern to folk and flamenco and all sorts of things. I think you have a flamenco
Yeah,
this
there's
year.
there's Carlota Santana coming from New York. She's a Spanish dancer. All my life, I like variety. I like everything. As long as it's good, I love it. I can sit through a lot of things. There are certain art forms, dance art forms that are hard for me because I don't understand them. But overall, I'm very receptive to just
Mm.
about anything.
And I love that fact that you keep that variety in there. I think that that's something that really does stimulate the audience. Would you like to share with us a few of the things that are going to be going on this year that are of particular interest?
Which night you come, you're going to see different things. We have a company out of Chicago called South Chicago Dance Theater. It's only been in existence about 5 or 6 years, I think, or maybe 10. Kia Smith, a young woman that came out of not nowhere, she came out of somewhere, but she developed the thing and she captured the audience imagination. It's an amazing group. In the same program, there's a company out of Dallas called Bruce Wood Dance Theater. And what interests me about Bruce Wood's kind of theater is that it's a company that is surviving its creator. The director and founder passed away. You don't always have a situation where companies survive the passing of whoever founded it. And they come from Dallas. So I thought that was something that very interesting to note. You
Yes.
know, around that, you have companies, and each evening you have something like a duet. And we have 2 artists from the New York City Ballet that are coming. And the second one, we have 2 artists from Kansas City Ballet. And it's interesting is that they're dancing a performance of Romeo and Juliet that I choreographed in 1980. So it's part of
Yes.
my version of the Romeo and Juliet. I'm very excited about that because I haven't seen it in about 20 years. And then in the first performance, we're bringing a solo of Jose Limon. The dance company is coming in. And he was my mentor. I mean, he was the reason I started dancing. After I saw one of his performances, I thought, wow, that's great. I like that. So one day I'm hoping sooner than later to bring the entire company here.
Oh, fabulous. Let me
Yeah,
ask you, you just mentioned something that they're going to be dancing the Romeo and Juliet that you personally
yeah.
choreographed. And then, of course, your mentor having an influence in all this. How personally satisfying is it for you to look at this series and know that you have presented all these wondrous gifts to our St. Louis community? How satisfying is that for you?
I never stopped to think of it. I'm having so much fun doing it. I've been very lucky all my life that I've always done what I wanted to do. And when I walked away, I enjoy what I do. I've done some things a couple of shows that I thought, too bad. I shouldn't have done that. But overall, the whole idea of being part of it, I feel like a curator that has an opportunity to dress a wall with whatever masterpiece you want to. And so I dressed the 4 walls. And that's how I started even with a program. And I put one thing here and you can look at it. And then you turn around and you got the other one. The whole thing is one encompassing embracing moment of dance that showcases the 2 centuries that we know of the history of what we're doing.
What an intriguing vision. I love that.
I remember one person said to me, what you do is easy. All you do is you look at a list of 50 and you pick up 20, or you pick up 3, or you pick up 4. And I say, no, it's not quite that easy. Because the next year, what do? You pick out the 3 and out of 4. What do you do the next year? So when you start working on something like I did in 2006, I wasn't thinking of 2007. I was thinking 20 years from now when I quit. Who's going to take over? Who is going to do what? How are they going to go? Where can they go with what we're doing? What path should they follow? What kind of way have we shown them that they can build from? All of that has to play a part. It's not like just 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not like a Chinese menu. You're hungry the next day.
And somehow there has to be that rhyme and reason and synergy within each year's offerings.
See, you're very perceptive. People don't realize that. I mean, it's like if you go from A to B, well, you have to go through something. Like somebody said, the artistry is not on the steps; it's in between steps. It's not on the main notes; it's in the notes that go between the notes. It's the same thing in dance. When you dance, you can jump, but it's how you prepare for the jump and how you land from the jump that is more important, because you prepare badly and you land badly, the jump means nothing, no matter how high you went. It's a whole thing when you prepare any kind of program, and in Spring to Dance, that's specifically what we do. We take you on a journey. You sit there, you enjoy it, you relax. And you might say, oh, I should have gone to the bathroom for this one. Well, maybe you didn't, but that's okay.
I am quite amazed that this is your 16th year in this, and it still has such freshness. And I think, as you said, not thinking of it from ordering off a menu, but rather preparing it as an overall thing and keeping that future vision in mind as well. It's just amazing.
When COVID hit, we couldn't do it. It was the only year that we didn't do Spring to Dance, 2020. But by 2021, we were back in it. I mean, Dee had the great idea. I said, let's move it into the tent where the circus floor performs, and do it for less people in a less confining environment so that people would feel comfortable, because COVID hadn't ended. It was now, what do we do there? You can't do exactly what you were going to do in another theater. The environment is different. You have a different kind of rapport between the audience and the performer. It has to be somebody that you have to look at the performance and say, look, this is where we're going to be. Do you think you're going to be comfortable in this kind of environment? All of that plays a part in what we do.
Also, I was going to ask you how you manage so many companies in one small period of time, thinking of the tent, which also housed operas and everything else that very odd year. Where do you have a place for your performers to warm up and get centered and be ready to take the stage?
Well, the Two Hill is an incredible hall. When I arrived in 2006 and I saw the Two Hill, well, I thought to myself, oh, come on, I never had this kind of a hall when I was the artistic director of the company. Well, the Two Hill offers everything. In the theater itself, there is a studio where we provide every morning from 10 to 11:15, whether I teach it or another guest teacher teaches it, that we provide a class for the dancers, for all the dancers. So it's a very beautiful opportunity, because if we have all these companies coming from different parts of the world who know nothing about each other, and they come to the studio to take this class. And the class is formulated the same way anywhere in the world. You start in what we call the first position, and you build it from there. And it's a warm-up class, and they get to know one another. And that's the beginning of it. And then later in the day, we offer them a hot dinner from 4:30 to 6 o'clock, where they can sort of sit down and have the dinner before the show and talk about one another. And it's been interesting to note that many of them have discovered one person and another and one company, and they've exchanged choreographers, they've exchanged ideas. So that's the beauty of it. And I haven't been a dancer, I haven't been a choreographer, I haven't been an artistic director. I know what everybody's thinking before they thought it. So we've, at Dancer Louis, we put ourselves in a position where they can't complain because everything is taken care of.
You got there first.
I solved all that 20 years ago. Now I'm giving you the finished product. Enjoy it.
That's so great, because you are an artist. You know, as you said, you know what to anticipate. You know what the needs are, not only just the physical needs, but the aesthetic needs and the emotional needs, and that everything that an artist needs before they take the stage to be able to be at top form.
From the day that they start working with a marketing person who's really, a stickler for details and goes and asks for all the materials. When Julie Ballard, which is our production manager, begins to correspond with them. It's like, what are you, because the only thing that they have to understand is that their time preparing the one show they're going to do, whether it's a 15-minute ballet or a small duet, they only have 45 minutes in theater preparation.
Wow.
So we need to get from them all of the lighting to use as they would like it ideally. And then, fortunately, the Tuchel is really beautifully, and Julie Ballard is fabulous at what she does. So she takes that, adjusts it to what we have, and we have not had one person complain about what the result has been. Yeah, maybe one light is not what they wanted, but hey, this is not a perfect world.
No, it is not. And I think these are some of the technical aspects of things that folks are not aware of because they're being entertained, but they're thinking, my goodness, this bowled me over. And they don't really understand what those little small things like that can influence this.
The show starts at 7:30, but all 6 companies have had the 1 hour in between, and the preparation has happened. So they start at 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 3. And then by the time they get to 4:30 for lunch, everybody's had an opportunity to go on stage, show whatever lightings we had, any kind of thing with iron out, and then off they go. And thank you very much. Now dance. And they do.
And they do. I am speaking with Michael Uthoff, who is the Artistic Director of Spring to Dance, and this is the 16th annual celebration of dance. Thank you so much for speaking with me, Michael. Let me give all the who, what, when, wheres for everybody so that they know what to do, when to do it. 16th annual, it's Friday and Saturday, May 24th and 25th, so it's coming up this weekend, so pay particular attention. It's at the Two Hill Performing Arts Center with one of the finest staffs, and they're so accommodating. This is being presented by Dance St. Louis and the Whitaker Foundation, which has also underwritten this for many years. The doors will open at 5:30. At 6:15, there will be Speaking of Dance, a Q&A in the terrace lobby. At 6:45, there will be performances in the terrace lobby. At 7:30 p.m., the main stage performances are going to be in the Anheuser-Busch Performance Hall. That's the large hall. Now, you can get single tickets for this, or you can do a 4-pack. You pay for 3 and you get 4 tickets. That's a nice way to save a little bit of cash there.
A lot of money.
A lot of cash, that's right. And there are different rates of the tickets depending on where you want to sit. The way that you get your tickets, go to dancestlewis.org. Lewis is spelled out, by the way. dancestlewis.org. Once you get there, just search Spring to Dance Festival 2024. Michael, congratulations on such a tremendous gift to the St. Louis community. A remarkably innovative and flourishing series. Thank you for that.
My pleasure. It was always fun doing it, and I hope we continue doing it.
I'm certain you will, and you'll be sitting there just enjoying this one too, after it's all done. If by any chance you see this distinguished gentleman with the lovely white hair and the beautiful smile, go up and say hello to Michael Uthoff, because you'll be a better person for doing so. Thank you, Michael.
Kathy, thank you very much for everything. You did everything you do for us.
Thank you very, very much. It's my pleasure.